What does it mean by secondary type? If you remember, you already talked about one of the term in our discussion itself, that is called association. So what do you say association? Association means, or association comes when you will think about object relationship or has a relationship. So when talking about object relationship, that time this association comes. So how we can implement object relationship or association? Association come into picture when you are going to create one class object inside another class. As for example, we say that order have order item. So you have to create an order item class object inside an order. Or when I say that class or room have chair, so you have to create a chair object inside a classroom class. If I say that employee have department, department have employee, so you have to create an object of department inside an employee or employee object inside department. That is defined based on the cardinality. I'm not going into that. So association come into picture when talking about object relationship. Association come into picture when you talk about object relationship. When you have to create one class object inside another class, that time association comes. Okay, and that is called secondary type in case of Spring framework. So secondary type means when you are going to create one object, when container is going to inject one object inside another object to implement the relationship between two objects, that we defined as a secondary type. Just now we talked about, right, what container is doing here. This is a single object. There is no object relationship. The example that we have done, employee.java, there is only one object employee, and there only container is injecting all the primitive values inside this object. Only one object we have. We don't have two objects. Only one object. Container is injecting the value. So in that case, you are using value attribute. Similarly, when you have some object relationship in your application, then one object reference can be injected inside another object by the container. Container can inject. Okay. Now here, what I'm going to say, assume I have one class, class EMP. This is a class. This is an EMP class. Similarly, I have another one class called department. I have another one class called department. Class TPT. Opening base, closing base, semicolon. I have two class. I have two class. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an object of department inside EMP. I'm creating object of department. Then we can say that department D equal to new D. I can create like this. This is how we generally implement the object relationship. Now, this is we do in object-oriented relationship based on different cardinality. You have to create an employee object inside department or department object inside employee. That depends how you have defined the cardinality between these two. How you have implemented that mapping. Now what I have done, I have created department object inside the employee class. This is called association in Java. And in Spring framework, I want container to do this task. Same task, I want Now still now what I am doing, still now I'm talking about that container is creating the object, container is initializing the object. That means container is implementing dependency injection, setter injection and constructor injection. Now I'm saying that container will implement object relationship also. Now I want IOC container to implement object relationship. Same like this. Object relationship means what? When you create one class object inside another class, these two class connected with the relationship. That is object relationship. So when I want one class object should be injected to another one class by the container, that concept is said to be as a secondary type. Right? So what we will do next is that how secondary type or association can be done by IOC container. The secondary type or association using IOC container. IOC container. Right? So that will be our focus next. Anything else, guys? Anyone want to add? This will be our next task. How IOC container will implement secondary type or association when it is going to how it is going to do the dependency injection for secondary type. How it is going to do dependency injection for secondary type, how IOC container is going to do dependency injection for secondary type, we'll talk about using a very good example. Okay, not only that, we'll talk about how IOC container is using dependency injection for collection classes. How IOC container is going to implement dependency injection for inner beans. Okay, so lots of things is there. We'll add all those things. How IOC container is implementing the life cycle phase of all the POJOs. Right? Fine. So we'll go into the next phase, but we'll take a break, and after break we'll move with this phase. Fine, guys. Anything else anyone want to add? Fine. So what we'll do is that we'll take a break. For now it is 6:15. So we'll take a break half an hour, and in the break time you can do some other task, as well as you can try this lab also, whatever you have done till now. And next we'll start about 6:45. Fine. And anyone have any queries, you can share in the communication window. I try to. How IOC container is implementing DI, how IOC container is implementing DI for primitive type or using setter injection, as well as in case of using constructor injection. So now we'll talk about this secondary type. So let's do this one. Already before break, already I've given one example that what does it mean by secondary type and how we can talk about the secondary type. So let's take a very famous example to understand the concept of secondary type. Let's take a good, very famous example, that is car and engine example. It is used in lots of technical documentation, so I'm using that one only. So now we are talking about secondary type association by IOC container. So for this, already we know that we have to create project, Java project. Second step, what you have to do, these are the common, right? Second step, we have to add all the jar file. These are the steps that we have to do. Third step is that we have to create Hojo class, right? Then fourth step create a spring.xml file, right? Then you have to create the client. So this is the very common for all the labs that we are talking about, for each and every topic that you're talking about using a lab. This is common for all, right? Create client.java. Client.java. Fine. Now here in this example, we'll take an example of Pojo class. Pojo class, let's take a class called car.java. Car.java. Okay, so I have a car class, class car. Okay, so inside a car class, inside the car class, you can write one instance variable called string car name. This is an instance variable inside the car class. Fine. I have another one class called engine. So engine.java, and here I have one class engine. So inside the engine class, I have one instance variable called, take it as a model number or something like that, string model number or brand, something like that. Fine. So if you see here, I have taken two classes. One is called car class that have one of the instance variable called car name, and I have engine class that have one of the instance variable called model name. Correct? Now, if you see into these two scenario, now I can create a car class object. I can create, if I assume it is an spring.xml file. I assume it is spring.xml file. So in the spring.xml file, you're going to create the root element as beans, right? If you're starting a root element, you should close the root element /beans. Fine. Now what I'm to do is that, as you know, we have to provide, I have to create an I want container to create an object of the car class. So what I'll do, I'll write here bin id equal to c car object and class equal to car. That's it. Container will create an object of the car class. Container will create an object of the car class. Container will create an object of the car class like this. If you're starting a bin element, you can close the bin element /bin. So container will create an object of the car class. Now car class have one of the instance variable. Car class have one of the instance variable. Name of the instance variable is car name. So I want to implement setter injection for car name. I want to implement setter injection for car name. So how to do? I have to use property name. What is the name of the property name is car name. Car name, and the value equal to you can use some car name as Ford. That's it. So what we have done here in this example, we have two class, car class and the engine class. What we have done here, I've just given the bin element for car class. So container will parse these elements and create a car class object, and it will initialize the car class instance variable with this value. It's fine. It's for the car class. It's okay. And this is a primitive type for the car class instance. Car class instance variable you are going to initialize with a particular value. Similarly, if I want to do the same thing for the engine class, similarly, if I want to do the same things for the engine class, I can do it, right? So Control C, I will do the same thing for the engine class, right? I can do the same things for the engine class. Okay, so for engine class, you have an object E. The name of the class is engine, right? It has a particular attribute called model number, and some value is Ford. You can write 2020. Okay, just write here E Ford, electric Ford. Assume. Right. Now, what we have done here is that I have two classes. Is there any relationship between these two classes? No. If you see, there is no relationship. I have not implemented yet. And in the configuration file or spring.xml, what I have done, I have created an object of car class and initialize the car class instance variable with a value using setter injection. So ILC container will implement setter injection to inject this Pojo class instance variable with this value. Similarly, for the second scenario, I have created an engine class. So container will create an engine class object and initialize engine class instance variable with a particular value using setter injection. Why? I have used the property element. That's it. So in this example, there is no concept of secondary type. We have not yet done. We have not yet done secondary type yet. It's a normal dependency injection only, normal secondary type, normal setter injection done by the ISC container. That is only we have done. Now, when I'm talking about secondary type, dependency injection, what we have to do, secondary type means object relationship. So how I can implement relationship between these two class? I can say that one car have one engine. Sometimes some of the car, one car can have two engine sports car. I'm not going into that. So one car have one engine. So if this is the relationship, one car have one engine. If the cardinality is 1:1, then in that case, I can create an engine class object inside a car saying engine E eng equal to new engine. So the moment I have created this engine class object here, means I have created relationship between these two classes. I have created relationship between these two classes. Correct? Okay. So this is how it is. Now what I want container to create engine object and inject it in the car class. That is my need. So for this, what I will do, I'll just create a reference of engine. You can provide some getters and setters here. Getters and setters, fine. This is my engine class as it is. Now what I want container to inject engine class object inside the car class. So for this, what I have to do here, you have to come where I have created an object of car. This is my engine class object. ENG, engine class object, right? Now what I want container to inject this object inside this class. How I can do that? Just right here, property name equal to, what is the name of the instance variable that you have created? Engine. Engine, property name equal to engine, and reference, it remember, reference equal to, or the engine class object, E, assume it's an E. So reference equal to E. So the moment you have written like this, that means that IOC container will inject the engine class object inside the car class. How am I going to define? With the help of reference. So in that case, if I can create, if I have requested for a car class object from the container, if I get the car class object, then I can get the engine details also from the car class object. Just see here how it can be done. So this is my spring.xml, and this is my car, right? So create a separate project for secondary type. Let's create a separate project. So here, close it. Now I'm talking about Spring IOC secondary injection, not setter injection, secondary injection. So file, new Java project. Just write here Spring IOC, secondary injection, Spring IOC secondary injection. Right? Okay, next, move next, finish. So when you create this project, as you know that we have to add all the jars. So add all the external jars. Finish. Okay, now what I have to do is that I have to add Java class. So right click new class. So my Java class I'm going to add inside the PP package. Class name is car. This is my Java class car. Right? So when I'm doing this car here, click finish. Just now I've written all the things. Just copy this car class from here. Control C. Control V. Okay, engine not yet done. Still now. Save it. So I have one instance variable. Private string car name. Right click, source format, and I have to create a I have to create a getters and setters for the instance variable car name, right? So you can right click, source, generate getters and setters, select this and generate. So this is a car class, and I want, right? Simple car class. Similarly, I want to create another one class called engine. So right click, new class. My class name is engine. And inside this engine class, I should have one instance variable that is model number and its getter setters. So I have one instance variable, model number. You can make it as a private type, private. You can save this. Right click, source, generate getters and setters. That's it. Save this. That's it. Fine. Now this is my engine class. Now what I want to do, I have I have created to implement association or relationship. I have created engine class reference here, and for this engine reference, I should provide getters and setters. Right click source, generate getters and setters because I want to implement dependency injection for the secondary type. So for the secondary type, I have created getters and setters. Fine. So this Java classes is done. Now I have to create the configuration file. Okay. So right click new class, this package, naming it as RE resources. So inside this resources package, we can create the file called spring.xml. Spring.xml. So when you have this already, you know how to create the grammar inside the spring.xml file. I can go to Spring Beans. Under the Spring Beans, you can go to factory.xml, and if you go to springbeans.ddd, you can provide the grammar. So it is already given. I'll suggest copy it from here and try to use this one. Control V. Save it. That's it. Now, if you have a root element beans, that should be like this. Now, what I want to do is that first you should have a car class object, then you should have engine class object, then engine class object should be injected inside the car class with the help of the reference. So already I have written this code. If you see here, first you should have a car class object, engine class object, and engine class should be injected inside the car class, inside bins. Control V, right click, source format. Now, if you see here, I have created a car class object. So car class is defined inside the PP package. I have created engine class object that is defined inside the PP package. Then I'm injecting this engine class object. I'm injecting this engine class object inside the spring.xml inside the car class object using the reference E. Yes. So I have provided this property. Now what IOC container will do? IOC container will create an object of car class, initialize it using setter injection. IOC container will create an object of engine class, initializing it with setter injection. Then IOC container will inject the engine class object inside car class. Then only I can get all the car engine details also using car class object. Let's see. So I'm going to create one client class. So right click new class. I'm going to create client.java. And as you know, inside the client.java, what you have to do, you have to get an object of application context. Application context AC equal to new class path XML application context. Okay. Now here I have to provide the path of your spring.xml. So it is defined inside resources slash spring.xml. Okay, you can save this and you can import, save it. Okay, now I've created application context object. Now what I want is that when the client need a car class object, or client have requested for a car class object, client will get automatically engine details also, because IOC container have injected engine object inside the car class. Correct. So client have requested for AC dot get bin. It is requested for which class object? If you can see here, it is requesting for car class object C. So here you can just write here C. It is requested for car class object, so I will get the car class object here car obj equal to, if you want you can typecast, fine. Now what I want, I should get the car details as well as engine details, both, right? So system dot out dot println, I should get the car obj dot get car, you can see here get car name, obj dot get car get engine. So here not get engine, obj dot get, so where is those details about engine? Because in the engine class, you see in the engine class you have model number, right? So get model number, set model number is there, and so I should get the model number from the car class. So when I'm going to write here obj dot get engine dot get model number, yes. So I have requested for a car class object details, and I'll get the engine class object details also, because IOC container should inject the engine class object inside the car class. Let me check it is correct or not. See, right click, run as Java application. Yes, it's working fine. Now if you see in this example what happened here, in this example, this is an example of secondary type injection by the IOC container. Secondary type injection by the IOC container, because IOC container have injected engine class object inside the car class, then only I get the details of the engine using the car class object, and it is working fine. And very good example. If I want to say, if you get any request, like if you want to say like how you have to show a secondary type example using a very small example, then it's a very good and very best example to say how IOC container is implementing secondary type injection.